Hi, we're going to approach this problem, the revision 2 question 2 paper, revision 2A question 2 paper. And the way I'm going to approach this, I'm going to break this up into blocks. There's an axis of symmetry here, and I know there is a rib. So I want to make sure there is a work plane running across the center. I want to make sure that the work plane is at the bottom because there are lots of dimensioning from the bottom to the top. Um, I will start off with drawing this base first, followed by the semicircle. I won't create the hole just yet, then I'll build the tower. I may need to do some trimming at the back later on. Okay, without further ado, let's get started. A new work part, millimeters, then I create. And what I'll do is that I'll rotate my screen such that the front view is facing me, and then what I'll do is I'll start my sketch on the top view, which is this view here, the exact plane, so that the top is aligned to me. Okay, then I will draw a random line, and I will draw the line such that it is not quite balanced, so that when I do a horizontal constraint, the midpoint appears significantly above the line, so that it doesn't get confused. And yeah, so you can really see for sure that it was brought down and being aligned. Okay, so you can know for sure. This is 46 millimeters in length, 46. Okay, so if it disappeared, you just double click and it's there, right? And then for the length, the distance to right at the end, right? For me, I will put here 124. Okay, then what I'll do is I'll draw two lines that are, because the angle is at 20 degrees, I'll just draw two random lines first of unequal length, and then I will dimension this to 20. Now you'll be tempted to draw a straight line and then put a dimension and put them as angle 10 degrees, but it would not be okay because for this particular test you cannot create or deduce any dimensions and then create additional dimensions in your sketches. Okay, your sketches has to follow the dimensions that are given in this drawing strictly. Okay, additional dimensions will be deleted, and then when sketch are not constrained, you'll be penalized. So how do I turn these two lines black? The first thing is to align them vertically. Okay, the points and this point, if you align them vertically, right, that will help. The second thing is to make the two lengths equal, and then that would balance it out already. Okay, next thing I'll do is I'll draw them all the way to the back. Or what I can do is I'll draw it further back so that I can align my back line. Okay, draw it further back, align my back line. And how I'll align my back line is I'll use the coincident constraint, choose the midpoint, and then snap to this point over here. Alright, then I will dimension this, and this is 40 millimeters. Okay, so with this, the sketch is fully constrained. Then I'll extrude to a height of 15 millimeters. So extrude to a height of 15 millimeters. That's how tall it will get. Then I will have the two fillet radius of 10 millimeters. Select here and here, and I'll click OK. Right? And if you were to go to the origin, you will see all your work planes. You will see that the XY plane runs at the center. So my next sketch, I'll start off on the XY plane, and then I'll draw on the XY plane. I'll draw a very large circle, and I'll give the diameter of the circle, right? Or what I can do is that I can make the diameter rather small, and what I'll do is that I will ensure that the center of the circle, right, is coinciding with this line. Right, I'll coincide with this line and this. Okay, then I'll make the circumference of the circle coincide with the endpoint here. Alright, then what I'll do is I can reduce the diameter of the circle. Now if you are not comfortable with sketching with missing lines, and you're not comfortable of not seeing the lines, you can always switch this to a wireframe. Right, then go back to sketch, and I draw a semicircle. Okay, and then I'll trim it away. right? Then I give the radius of this to be 38 millimeters. So now this sketch is at the center of the part, and the reason why I drew it at the center of the part is because it is going I'm going to extrude it by both sides so that the ends here are protruding. Okay, so I'll extrude it on both sides to a dimension of 78 millimeters. So that's what I'm going to do. I am going to extrude, and I'm going to extrude both sides, and it's going to be really long, like 78 millimeters. Okay, so that's how it goes. Now I'm going to turn it back to a solid view so that I can see it clearer. And you'll notice that hey, there's some bit of flash here, and I need to get rid of it. So no worries. Again, what you can do is you can create a sketch, select this as your work plane, and then what you do is you project geometry and you select the area here. And what will happen is that when you select an area, the surrounding edges will get created into an entity, into an outline, and you can make use of that to do an extrude cut through all, and you will clean up the whole entire waist. Okay, so that's one way to do it. Now I'm going to draw the tower next. The tower is behind, so I'm going to start with this edge here, and the tower has got a dimension over here, so I'm going to sketch this profile out. Okay, the center of the circle is 66 millimeters and the diameter is 44. Okay, so I'm just going to draw a circle, 66 and 44. That should be easy to remember. I will intentionally draw the circle off center so that I can align it. Okay, oops, that one is horizontal, so I will just put this vertical so that I can align it to this. Then I will dimension this to the bottom, and it is 66. Okay, notice how everything is according to the dimensions, is according to the drawing over here, right? No deviation at all. If it says here 44, 66, I'll make use of these dimensions to create my sketch. Then over here I'll draw a vertical line straight down and then across, okay, and then all the way up, right? Now sometimes you will come into a situation whereby the line that you have is blue and it's not constrained. So then you are trying to constrain it and you are wondering how you can go about constraining it. And you can't add dimensions to it because any additional dimensions that are not in the drawing here will be deleted, and if the sketch turns out unconstrained because of the deleted dimension, you lose marks. So how do you then constrain this? You constrain using these constraints over here. Alright, so you need to practice and get skillful at this. So if this is blue, what does that mean? So blue means you can actually move it around and it's got, you can manipulate it, right? That's what it means. So one of the ways in which you can constrain, especially for lines like this that they didn't handle, was the tangent. Okay, and if the tangent was not constrained, then it could be okay, let me rotate this view. There was an additional line, so I need to draw an additional line from here to the bottom. Okay, and that's black. And let me delete this line. Let me try again. Okay, and now it's black. Okay, so then after that I will trim away the circle at the bottom, and I will extrude this to 38 millimeters because that's the width that it goes by. Okay, so I'll extrude it by 38 millimeters on the other side, and the length is 38. Okay, now that I have this out already, I can choose to draw the cutout at the bottom. Right, I can choose to draw the cutout at the bottom, and that's R24. So what I can do is I can put this sketch here, draw a circle, and draw a line that bisects the circle into half, and then I trim it. And after I trim it, when I add my dimension, it will be in radius, and I'll put radius 24. Okay, right? Now the line here is not blue, and that's because I may be able to move it, or there is actually a projected line here, and I'm going to connect it again. Right, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to extrude cut the whole entire thing through all. Alright, the next thing I'm going to work on is I'm going to work on the features, like the slot over here that's cut right through. Okay, and the height of the slot is 10, which means that the radius of this arc is 10, and the dimension, the way they dimension, they didn't dimension it center to center, they dimension it from end to end, and it's 32 millimeters. So how I'm going to sketch it is sketch it accordingly. From here I'm going to sketch using a slot, but instead of center to center I choose overall. And what I'll do is I'll intentionally, like before, draw a slot like this, and then I will make this center point coincident with the origin. Okay, then I will draw a line that binds it, that covers it, and then I will trim it. Okay, and then I will dimension this to 32, and the height is 10. Okay, now I'm going to extrude cut this cut, and I'm going to cut to the surface. To which surface do I want to stop at? I will stop at this surface over here. Right, so I click OK. So this is the cutout at the bottom of the tower, and then there are these 3 holes. Okay, I'm going to create the first hole. Now you'll be tempted to just draw a circle and extrude cut it, but in this course you need to create the holes using the hole wizard. Okay, they call it a hole wizard. Let's see, they call it the hole command. Okay, the hole command. So you start off by creating a sketch plane first, and then you create a point, and this point you move your mouse to the circumference, the center will appear, and you finish your sketch. So you have a finished sketch here, and the diameter of the hole is diameter 10, and it's a true hole. Oh no, it's a blind hole, right? And to a depth of 20 millimeters. So you need to remember that. And I'm using the hole command. Okay, the hole command. And for the hole command, you select the first hole, a simple hole. It's a true hole. It's a blind hole to 20 millimeters. Okay, and usually the angle for in our area is 120 degrees. Okay, oops, I think I didn't specify the diameter. Edit feature, and I need to specify the diameter to be diameter 10. Enter. Okay, you'll be tempted to do 3 points and then you dimension the points accordingly, but for our course, right, you need to make use of, whenever you have 2 or more features, you need to make use of the linear pattern. Okay, so for this case, linear pattern, you need to create 3, and they are 20 millimeters apart. Okay, 3 holes. So you use the linear pattern over here, and the feature you want to pattern would be the hole pattern, and the direction in the orientation. So I can choose this line or this line. Basically, is a straight line, and there are a total of 3 holes, 20 millimeters apart. So they sort of show you a preview of where they are. Then you click OK, and the 3 holes are done. Okay, all right. Okay, then where am I going? What am I going to do next? Let me think. Okay, let me do the the 45-degree cutout over here. Okay, let me do the 45-degree cutout over here. So to do the 45-degree cutout over here, I will start my sketch from this point. Okay, sketch a line, and I'll draw the line over here, and I'll draw another line over here. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to offset geometry, and I'm going to create a geometry of the arc. It's created over here. Okay, and the angle is 45 degrees. Is it 45? I forgot. 45 degrees. And you realize that, oh, how am I going to centralize this? Okay, so one of the ways to do it is to make use of the constraints. Okay, the constraint is such that it has to be, the ends have to be tangent to this curve. That's one of the constraints. And the second constraint is that they have to be equal in length. Okay, let's see. Let me see, it's deleted, and then they have to be horizontally constrained as well. Okay, and let me put the dimensions back. I think it's 45. Right, so once you have this constraint up, oh, I forgot, I need to project this geometry at the bottom as well. Okay, so once this is up, you need not redraw two arcs and then trim it. You need not. You could just have this sketch. Okay, 45, and then you can extrude cut it. Okay, extrude cut. You can select this region here, and the depth of the cut is, let's see, how much does it go in by? 2 times 12, so it goes in by 12 millimeters. Okay, now please don't repeat the same command on the other side by drawing it, because you will lose points for not using the mirror command. So it's very important that you use the mirror command over here, and the mirror command is not for the sketch but for features. So you select this feature, select the extrusion. The mirror plane would be your XY plane, which runs right across the center of your part. It's symmetrical. It's a symmetrical axis of your part, then plane of your part, sorry, and then you create the second portion over here. Okay, now the next thing that I'm going to draw is this circle, but it's not a full circle due to the rib there. This segment here is actually a straight line. Okay, and the width of the rib is 10 millimeters. That's something that you have to pay attention to, and I'm going to do just that. Right, I'm going to draw a circle from the bottom, and I'm going to extrude up by 32 millimeters. Okay, because I'm going to follow according to the design intent. Right, and the dimension of the circle is 98 millimeters from the back. Right, and it's centralized. So that's how I'm going to draw it. Alright, so I'm going to rotate this around, and I'm going to start the sketch plane from the back, or I could just select the XY plane, sorry, the exact plane. Alright, now when I'm drawing the exact plane, because it's at the back, I won't be able to see my circle. So I'm going to change my view to a wireframe over here. Okay, so I'm going to draw my circle first, and it's just going to be random. And then I'm going to make sure it's horizontal, and I'm going to give it its diameter. The diameter of this is diameter 40, right? And then I'm going to dimension the position of the circle, and that's 98. Right? And you see it's fully constrained. But what I'm going to do something more. I'm going to draw that straight line segment over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just draw a random line first. Okay, and then I'm going to make sure that that line is centered to the circle. I'm going to make sure that the line has a length of 10 millimeters. Then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to make sure that the point is tangent to the circumference, right? And then that would fully constrain it already. Okay, so then I will trim this away, and I'll be ready to extrude this circle up by extrude in the other direction up by 32. Okay, 32. Alright. Now that I've gotten this 32 already, I'm going to draw the whole features on this protrusion here. Okay, this boss, right? And I'm going to create my sketch. I'm going to sketch my sketch here. I'm going to put my point, okay, because this particular hole feature, right, is not a true hole. It's not a simple hole. It's a unique hole, okay. It's a hole that has a diameter 8, alright, and it's a counter bore, and it is counter bore to diameter 16 to a depth of 8 millimeters. So it's a counter bore, right? And I will need to state the counter bore diameter is 16, right? Counter bore diameter is 16. The counter bore depth is 8. The hole is a true hole, right? And the diameter of the hole is diameter 8, right? So what happens is that I am able to input all the dimensions that I have from the drawing, 16, 8, and diameter 8 as well. And if you are not sure where I got these numbers from, it's from this end view over here. If you were to zoom in, right, diameter 16 is the counter bore, the 8 millimeter height, counter bore height, and then the true hole, which is diameter 8. Okay, then I click OK. Alright, now I'm going to draw next the threaded hole, and the way I draw the threaded hole, okay, is I'm gonna draw a line. Yeah, that's what I can do as well. I can draw a line, and I can draw a vertical line that is up by 15. Okay, there is a diameter 30 PCD, right? So I can, or alternatively, what I can do is I can just draw a point, right? And I make sure that the point is vertically constrained to the circle. Oh, I need to project so that the center point appears. Then I can do my vertical alignment to this, okay? And once I have the vertical alignment to this, the next thing I need to do is dimension this, right, to the center, and it is 15 millimeters, okay? Right, and this is the center point for my threaded hole. Okay, straight away I go to my threaded hole feature, and I have no seat, and I have to choose ISO metric. And the metric hole is M5, right? Size is 5, M5, and it's a blind hole. It's not a blind hole, sorry, it's a blind hole. So I need to specify my depth, right? It is drilled to 15, so I need to write here 15, and then it is tapped to 10. Okay, so when it's okay, I'll click OK, and I have my threaded hole over here. Okay, so when you have one threaded hole, of course you'll be tempted, why can't I create all the point features for the rest? No, the way it doesn't work that way. You actually need to create the second part of the hole using the circular pattern, and the feature that you would choose is the hole, and the rotation axis is, you could choose this cylinder, or you could choose the inner cylinder, or you could choose the hole, because they all share the same axis. The axis that you want to rotate about is just two of these features, about 45 degrees. Okay, So that's how you want to do it. Now in the event if you want to switch it the other way around, right, if you want to switch it the other way around, sorry, you could switch it this way. Okay, so the rotation axis helps you to switch. Sometimes during the test, you want it to flip to the other side, you can make use of the rotation axis. Okay, right, so again, why do I just rotate half a circle and then yeah, they will want you to use the mirror command. Okay, so you use the mirror command, and the features that you will want to mirror is the hole and the circular pattern, and the mirror plane is the XY plane. Alright, so you've got the threaded holes, you've got that feature, and you've got everything locked down. The last thing to do is the rib. Okay, to sketch the rib, you sketch on the XY plane, and it's really quite straightforward from here. Right? I just draw a line. I need not have the line touch the other end, and then I dimension it. Okay, and it is 36 degrees. Enter. And then I finish my sketch. Then I go to my rib command. With the rib command, click on the rib command. The first thing you should do is always select this icon where it's parallel to the sketch plane. Okay. Then the profile. What profile is it that you want to draw? You sometimes need to select this. Select the profile and then choose it. Okay. Yeah. So once the profile is selected, right? You can then add in your rib thickness, which is 10 millimeters, and you click OK. Right? Then what will happen is that they will create a rib for you. Okay. And I think that's it. So check through and make sure that you have got all your features, right? Whatever that needs to be drawn. Okay. Remember, when it comes to holes and creating holes, use the hole command. When there are multiple holes, use the pattern, the rectangular pattern. When they are in a circular fashion, use the circular pattern. And in the event whereby you see that it's symmetrical, please don't repeat the command, but use the mirror command, because marks will be allocated for it. With that, yes, this is a relatively long, complex part, but that's the way it's to be done. So I hope you enjoyed this and learned from it. Do practice and try and make it within the timing that is required for your test. Till then, see you. Bye bye.